Relay FM. This is Connected, episode 506. Today's show is brought to you by Ecamm, AdBlock Pro, and ExpressVPN. I am your Ricky Benchman, Mike Hurley, and I am introducing to you Federico.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And I am introduced to me. Hi, Federico.
What? Hi.
I got too excited about Benchman.
That English language took a turn, for sure.
Yeah, man.
We're also joined by Mr. Stephen Hackett. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Federico. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
It's Friday, which is weird.
Friday. Gotta get down on Friday.
Ricky's gotta score on Friday.
That's the energy. That's the energy today. I love it. Can we remind people about this introduction, Mike? What happened in those first few seconds?
Well, I am now being officially referred to as Ricky Benchman because I currently hold both the keynote and annual chairmanships. So my combined title is now Benchman, because if you have two chairs and you put them together, they become a bench. So I am the Benchman. And I got too excited about that and forgot how to say the word introducing.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. Benchman.
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 Sounds like henchman.
There's also, there's also a website for this madness. Connectedintro.com. That is the new website where people can go to, and it's actually quite helpful.
Okay.
Federico, you're not doing a good job of the history here.
You're not doing a good. This site has been around for a long time.
I never used it.
I know. I put these in the show notes each week. But it has been updated with our titles.
It's more useful now.
Wow. Yeah, there it is. James Thompson. There's a bunch of people on this list in the Connected Interest Scoreboard. Currently, as of June 12th, 2024, Federico has introduced the show 43 times. Mike has introduced it 216, and I've introduced it 244 times.
Mm-hmm.
So think about that, boys.
What am I thinking about?
Just how you're living in my shadow once again. I met somebody at WBDC, and the first thing they said to me, they introduced themselves, and they said, "You're taller than I expected."
Huh? They must respect you.
And I said, "Well, I'm taller than Mike, so that's all that matters."
You're actually not, though.
But you weren't there to defend yourself.
Well, I'm defending myself in front of everyone.
If only there was some way to know.
There is a way to know. I'm told that.
Okay.
Federico, can you tell our listeners what you discovered?
I discovered that the weird fish, a deep part, like a very important part and a very deep connected lore and piece of trivia, found its way in the official hero image as well as in multiple slides of a WWDC session about the new Translate API, which is actually a pretty cool technology this year. But the thing is, weird fish, obviously the microbe emoji that many years ago I mistook for, a weird fish, is one of the characters, one of the fictional characters in this demo app that Apple put together for this session. And Weird Fish is typing in these screenshots, I believe it's Japanese, and the Translate API is translating that text back to English. So it's not just the weird fish reference and acknowledgement. It's also the text. In the translated text, Weird Fish wrote, "The hike was great, but it was so difficult that I had to pause the podcast. And I was an experienced hiker and hiked all over Rome, London, and Memphis." So obviously, the Apple engineer who put together this session is quite the connected super fan to have this kind of reference and mention of our cities. So thank you. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, and the fact that it's like actually shown multiple times.
So good.
Throughout the video is pretty amazing, and it's a pretty incredible sort of nerd badge of honor, if you ask me, to have this sort of thing in a WWDC session. So thank you.
Yeah, whoever this person is that made this, this is amazing, and we really appreciate you. and thank you for immortalizing us once again, you know?
Mm-hmm. Once again, yes, that's right. Weird fish. There you go.
You know, the episode where you came up with Weird Fish wasn't actually called Weird Fish.
No, it was. What was it called?
The episode was called Nano Hippo.
Nano Hippo.
Yeah, episode 212 from October 3rd, 2018. It was this was before the game was called the Jeremys. And it was every new emoji in iOS 12.1.
Whoa.
And that was where the microbe emoji was included there, aka the weird fish emoji. But what I found particularly interesting about this is I Googled connected Relay FM weird fish, and this was the first result. And I don't know how Google knows that. That was interesting to me. Because it's not, weird fish is not referenced in the show notes or the links at all. But yet it knew that this one was the one to go for.
Google's a listener. That's what we
Yeah, thanks to Google too, I guess.
Thanks. Shout out to Google.
Shout out to Google from the feedback for this, yes.
So a friend of ours who will remain nameless, who clearly doesn't listen to our show. First time I'd seen this person since 2019, and they wanted to see my additional tattoos. And they're like, "Oh, you've got a COVID tattoo." I was like, I just kind of moved on, but clearly not a listener.
If they're not a listener, put them on blast.
I don't want to do that because they have fans.
So
it was Syracuse.
John, come on. See, this is why he is not the true John. He is a lesser John. These are the reasons.
Right.
This is one of the reasons.
But I sat next to him at dinner. It was great to see everybody.
Disappointing.
You know that meme? The disappointed meme?
No.
So we're at the end of WWDC week. How did we watch the keynote? Stephen, did you watch it with new eyes as a developer now? Like, how was that experience for you watching the keynote and like waiting for the segment that was going to make your life more difficult or not?
It was interesting. I definitely noticed as I was taking it in, like, oh gosh, there are things that I pay attention to now that maybe I didn't pay such close attention to. Like when they were talking about home screen customization, I was laser focused on what was happening, and looking through the State of the Union and some other stuff later. That's where I've been focusing, is some of the customization stuff, some of the other things that may impact the underscore family of apps. So yeah, I didn't think about that much going into it, but definitely noticed it was happening to me.
What is your feeling about the stuff that was announced, like the widget stuff and the theming stuff? Like, how does it make you feel as part of the Widgetsmith organization?
It's super exciting. Anytime Apple gives people the ability to customize their devices, it's a good thing. And like, there's a bunch of people on Mastodon like, these all look terrible. Like, it's
no,
fine.
They do all look terrible. I'm one of those people. Every single example of tinting that I've seen looks bad. Like, they can fix that, and I believe genuinely they will tweak it over the course of the beta period, and it might look better. But right now, I have yet to see an option that I think looks good. Unless you sent me one. If you put the app icons in folders, they can look good.
It helps.
But I think the tinting, I'm not convinced on it. And it makes me wonder why, because Google did a better job, and I don't know if either of you know this. Does Apple not do like a image analysis and recommend a tint, or is it you just always choose the color?
No, they do analyze the wallpaper, I think, by default.
It can. It will suggest something you can pick from the color picker, or there's an eyedropper and you can pick a color directly from your wallpaper. So there are a couple of options there. And yeah, I agree with you. Like, some of them, like, it's a little rough. I think it will get better, but overall, giving people more options to customize is good. And there's lots of opportunities for developers. Like, being able to put a control widget on the lock screen is awesome. It's great for apps like Widgetsmith. It's also great for apps like Obscura by our friend Ben, right? Their camera application. Super cool stuff. They tie to the action button. They're in Control Center. Lots of great stuff. So yeah, I am pumped about customization and control widgets.
The thing is, like, look, if you want to make your lock screen look a certain way, even if other people think it's ugly, that's like totally fine. Like, I'm not saying that like people look. I know how my home screen looks. I know people don't like it, but I love it. And so, like, if you want all your icons to be like piercing blue, like, go for it. I just hoped Apple were gonna do better. Like, I want to be able to not have to tint all of the icons, right? And like, so I think things might improve, especially that the way that Apple has done dark mode icons is a little aggressive. Like, they're just gone like everything that's white is black, which is like pure black. It's like, okay, we can kind of like, we can maybe dial that back a bit, you know? But hey, we'll see. They're still early. We all remember iOS 7, you know? Like, so they changed things over the beta period.
What about you, Mike? How was your WWDC?
Yeah, it was fine. We didn't record Upgrade on Monday because the scheduling just didn't work out with Jason in California and me here. So I watched it at home, which was fine. You know, I like watching them at home or other than just being at the studio. And I would say the week it's been like a weird week, but not like a bad week, if that makes sense. Like in the past when I've missed these things, it's been really rough. Maybe my experience in 2022 means that any WWDC I miss will never feel as bad as that one. So like maybe I'm scoring on like a different scale here, you know? Like being in the city where it's happening and not being able to leave your room is like a very different experience than being at home.
You did hit rock bottom with that.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
It's and I think it's also helped by the fact that like this time of year, I am reminded of that. Like I get my photo widgets pop up and I see what was going on.
Gosh.
No, but when I look back at it now, there's two feelings of like, one, oh boy, everything's better. And two, I think it's funny now. I think the whole thing is actually a funny story. And like, is a good story to have. Like, I have a good story, I think, which is that one.
It's an excellent story.
It's a great story. And like, even now, like I get to, sometimes when I meet people at Apple PR and like, you know, we're talking and I reference it, some people are like, wow, and some people are like, oh, I know you. So, you know, it's an interesting thing that happened to me. So I guess now, no matter whatever happens at WWDC, it's never going to be as bad as that one.
Well, no, I mean, you could still die at WWDC, but
yeah, but then I don't care about it.
I mean, I'm just saying,
that's not a problem
to
me. Yeah, but that's not a problem to me. I can't look back on my death and be like, oh no, that was a shame. Because it's already done. That's bad for that makes your WWDC worse.
If you die at WWDC, do you die in real life?
Definitely. Because I got COVID in real life, so I carried that for months. So I know that if something happens at WWDC, it will continue. Well, I didn't get it at WWDC, but I had it. I tested positive during WWDC. But yeah, so that, really as well this week, it looked fun, but I think it helped for me that like a bunch of people weren't there, right? It's like Federico wasn't there too. So, if I was at home and then like you two were together, it would have made me feel sadder, because then I'd feel left out. Stephen, you were left out. You should have come and stayed with us or something.
I know. No press invite for me, which was a bummer. I got him since 2019, but not this time. The sun did not shine in favor upon me.
That's a beautiful way to say that you're upset.
Not how I felt at first, but I've come around to
it. Yeah, I think there was different word choices, I think.
I believe it was a slightly different tone, but
it was disappointing.
If anything, I am serene now as the sun does not shine upon thy.
Look, you spend a couple days in California, everything feels better.
That's true. Avocados,
Did y'all hear what happened to Dan Morin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if listeners aren't familiar with this, you haven't heard him, that maybe, I think you talked about it on the Six Colors podcast. He was taking a photo during the keynote and dropped his phone on his MacBook Air and destroyed the screen of his laptop. And I was in my hotel room in Cupertino. All my friends were out keynoting together. And I got a lot of text messages, like a bunch of group threads, a bunch of Slack stuff. Like, you won't believe what happened to Dan. So rest in peace, Dan's laptop.
But this feels like a very Dan Morin thing to have happened.
It kind of does.
It does. It really does.
This really feels like something that would happen.
Wait.
Like if somebody told me this story and was like, who did that happen to? Dan would be very high up on that list.
Are we sure this was not staged? Are we absolutely
Was
sure?
he doing it for the likes? What's happening
Yeah, I
here?
mean, he's talked about it on the podcast, and people are talking about Dan. Are we sure it's not staged?
He's like, Mike got so much mileage out of getting COVID that year. Maybe I should destroy my laptop. You know?
Yeah, why not?
Maybe. We need to look into this.
Jason in the Discord says Casey would be the top of that list.
Yes, Casey would be number one. Yes, if somebody said me that Casey would be number one, Dan would probably be number two. But yeah, I would immediately think that Casey did that.
Yeah. I saw Casey too. It was great. We had a company dinner. It was very nice. Without y'all, which was sad.
Yep.
What betas are we running, if any?
All of them?
I'm running iPadOS on my iPad mini because it's not being used, so I figured why not. And I put visionOS 2 on my Vision Pro.
Same.
Which it feels like in theory it would be the riskiest, but I think it's actually probably the most stable would be my assumption because they didn't do lots of changes and I'm loving it. visionOS 2 is fantastic because I love the new gestures. They're really great for like accessing the home screen and control center and stuff.
You could say they're
natural.
fantastic.
I wouldn't say
Why?
that, but I could have said that. I like the new environment. The beach environment is really good. Bora Bora, and they've added profiles to Safari, which means I can use Safari, which is always good to be able to effectively use your web browser. Only took a year. From when Safari profiles were announced, but now I can finally use my web browser effectively. But yeah, I think overall it's actually a very solid. I mean, look, I've said this in other shows, but like it's not like what you'd think of as a visionOS 2, but it is a lot of really good quality of life improvements for visionOS. So it's nice. It's very nice.
Yeah, I have, I guess, all the betas except for tvOS and macOS. I put watchOS 11 on my watch, iOS on my phone, iPadOS on my iPad Pro, and visionOS on my visionOS 2 on my Vision Pro.
What's been your experience so far with iOS and iPadOS?
Pretty stable on overall, with just a couple of things that I want to point out on the iPhone. Spotlight doesn't work quite well. Like sometimes it just doesn't find apps or it gets stuck.
It's missing its intelligence.
It's missing the intelligence.
Gave Spotlight a lobotomy. Like you got to wait for a few months for to put the brain back in.
Spotlight doesn't know what to do at the moment. Literally, I'm gonna talk about this on App Stories. Literally every single one, like all of them, of my things, shortcuts and automations, all of them broke. Because of some so that was like my reaction, oh no. And then I realized, well, the way I designed these shortcuts, I can actually just swap the things actions with the reminders actions, and I'm gonna have a functional task manager again. So that's what I did.
Do you know why this happened? Have they like changed something in shortcuts like significantly?
I think it's I don't know. Okay. But these things actions, it's not the first time they break in shortcuts. Right. It also happened a couple of months ago in 17 point something. So I don't know. But yeah, I wanted to test reminders anyway because of my review and the calendar integration, plus the fact that all of my shortcuts broke, pretty good excuse to do so. And on the iPad, which I'm using right now, at the moment, the external monitor support is using all the wrong size classes for sidebar-based apps. So, for example, right now, Files, which has implemented the new tab bar design in iPadOS 18, and it actually implemented that design better than, for example, the Books app. In the new Files, you have the tab bar at the top, but if you don't want to use it, you can press a button and you switch back to a sidebar, like in iPadOS 17. And that works well on the iPad display. On an external monitor, basically, iPadOS is always convinced that the window is too small. And so it doesn't show me the sidebar and the contents of the window at the same time anymore. When you show the sidebar, it becomes like a model thing. And yeah, so the size
I
classes
don't even
are all.
understand how that could happen. You know,
I have no
that's
idea.
Like such a weird
So, yeah.
thing to happen.
So yeah, external monitor support on the iPad is kind of glitchy right now, but
Okay.
overall, pretty okay, I would say. And these betas, Apple, I think, has done a pretty good job over the years making beta 1 relatively functional overall.
Yeah.
Like it used to be much worse.
It
years
used
ago.
to be so bad.
It used to be very,
so
very bad.
bad. Like some of them, like, obviously the classic was iOS 7, right? Like for
Yes.
many reasons, that one will always be the worst one. The best thing is, I think Stephen put it on his iPhone. We were at WWDC, and I remember him losing like 1% of battery life a minute on his phone.
Yep.
It was incredible when it was just doing nothing.
iOS 7, baby.
That was the best. That was the best one. There'll never be a better one for all the wrong reasons. But like, I think now they know people are going to use it, and I think it's beneficial for everyone if they can kind of just get it to a point where it's runnable. And I think that's why we see fewer features in beta 1, right? That like not everything is in beta 1, and that tends to be the way that they do things, right? Because they're giving some stuff a little bit more time in the oven before they put it in. Maybe.
So for me, beta-wise, I have iOS and watchOS on my underscore devices.
What are they? What devices are they?
Well, funny you asked that. I got to slap underscore's credit card right on the Apple Store table this week. Because the only watch I had floating around was a Series 5, and that got kicked out this year from system requirements. Because my other watches have like gone to family members or sold or whatever. And so I've got a Series 9 Apple Watch, and my beta phone was an iPhone 12, and so also have an iPhone 15 Pro as my beta device.
So you bought an Apple Watch Series 9 and an iPhone 15 Pro
with
week.
David's money. Yeah, it was awesome.
With widget bucks.
Widget bucks.
Yeah, widget bucks.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. That's
pretty great. So my plan this afternoon is to install Vision OS 2. Mike, everything you said is what I've heard from everybody. Like, the features are great. It's really stable. And so I will do that. And I want to at some point get on a call with somebody, because apparently these spatial personas can interact more, like fist bump and high five more easily.
Yeah, me and Jason had a call the other day, and the hands are more like, there's more going on in hands. Like, it looks more realistic, people's hands and arms. Just as an update that I'm sure you all want to know, my mouth still does not move.
Oh, no.
But you can customize glasses now, so yay! Cool. We're
good.
getting there piece by piece. So I wear glasses now in my persona. Which
do they have
okay.
temples, or are they still like the Matrix glasses?
I think they have temples. I think so.
Because they used to not, didn't they? They originally didn't.
I think some of them. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that they have.
Did I tell you all this?
I don't know.
I'm going to be. It's not important. I was in a meeting with somebody, and they pulled some
Who?
reading glasses out, and they were Matrix glasses, just like clipped on the nose. No temples.
Oh, wow.
No arms.
Wait, hang on a second. So you were meeting with someone who
Yes.
you should tell us who that is. You're going to keep that trend going today.
You won't know
And
them.
They put glasses and they were just resting on their nose.
Yes, they were like the glasses that Morpheus wears, where they just like clip on the nose. No.
Do you
is
think it's
incredible.
possible that this person they forgot their real glasses and they were just putting their clip-ons on?
I don't know. I'm going to keep an eye out next time I see them with the reading glasses on.
Interesting.
Why would you have these if you didn't want them?
I mean,
maybe
they were from the 1830s or something, And they were from the.
It was
from the
Casey.
past.
No, it wasn't. No one on the internet.
It was
So
John
they-
Syracuse.
so- they still can't deal with beards and mustaches, but they have made some improvements to the personas
Good.
again.
So yeah, I will. I'll do Vision OS 2 here soon. I have not played with iPad OS. That I'll probably do that just some point later in the summer.
What about
There's-
Sequoia?
Sequoia.
Why have they done this again? Why do they just keep picking things that are impossible to spell?
See, I know how it's
Why?
spelled already.
Why
It's
does
not-
everybody think it's difficult? It's so
It's
easy.
not.
Sequoia.
Sequoia.
It's Sequoia.
No, to spell, not to say.
To spell.
You can just like no problem remember the order of the U's, the O's, and the A's.
Absolutely.
Well, then look, I'm the one who's wrong. All right, but I can't do it. I don't know what order they go in.
Okay.
There's every vowel in this word though, which is fun.
True.
Yeah.
I know it because it's a Toyota SUV, so I know it in that context.
Federico, why do you know? Just like no, is it like an Italian word?
The Italian word is literally the same with it obviously different pronunciation. Sequoia, it's more open.
Do you have sequoia trees in Italy?
No, but no, we don't. But it's pretty easy. The O always goes after the U, so you know it's how to spell quo, right? And then IA at the end, and it becomes pretty easy once you know that. Sequoia.
So what you're saying is, once you've definitely learned the order of the letters, it's easy to remember.
Yes.
See, that's my problem, I suppose.
Yes. Once you know it, you have it in your brain.
Yeah.
Once you know it.
Well, yeah. That's where I'm falling down, I guess.
Yeah. Mike's looking at all those letters and like, they're not where you think.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Ecamm. Ecamm Live is the leading video production and live streaming studio built for the Mac, which is the best personal computer in my opinion. Ecamm does all aspects of video, not just live streaming. It's perfect for simplifying any video workflow. It's easy enough to get started quickly, but powerful enough that you can create just about anything with video, and you can do it all with the Ecamm app. One of my favorite things about Ecamm is that it really is easy to get started. A lot of professional tools have a really steep learning curve. You open it, it's hard to understand what to do. There's like palettes and things floating around. It's very confusing. And the designers at Ecamm have spent a lot of time making this a tool that, while it is incredibly powerful, it's also really easy to get started with. Whether you're streaming, recording, podcasting, presenting, something else, everything you need is in Ecamm. Stand out from the crowd with high quality video. Add logos, titles, lower thirds, and graphics. Share your screen, drop in video clips, bring on interview guests, use a green screen, you name it, Ecamm Live does it all. And Ecamm for Zoom is now available for everyone on the pro level plan. So you can automatically send Ecamm's live audio and video output into a Zoom meeting, Zoom webinar, or Zoom event, and add up to 8 Zoom participants as camera sources in your broadcast or recording. Plus, you can automatically create individual participant audio and video recordings and add Zoom chat messages to your broadcast or recording as text overlays. Ecamm's members are entrepreneurs, marketing professionals, podcasters, educators, musicians, church leaders, bloggers, and content creators of all kinds. Join them and get 1 month for free today at ecamm.com/Zoom and use the code CONNECTED. That's Ecamm, ECAMM, ecamm.com/Zoom, and the code CONNECTED will get you 1 month for free. Go there now and check it out. Our thanks to Ecamm for their support of the show and Relay FM. The Rickies is a game Connected hosts play before Apple keynotes and the beginning of a new year, trying to predict future events. It is made up of 3 rounds. Each host makes 2 regular picks, followed by a risky pick. There are 2 types of Rickies. Today we are playing Keynote Rickies. The Keynote Rickies winner is named the Keynote Chairman. The position is held until the next keynote. Hosts should be introduced at the top of each episode according to their current titles. We did that today.
We did do that today.
It felt
this
good.
Is change. This is actual legislation, you know?
It
we
is.
Debate it, and then it goes into immediate effect.
Yeah. Who needs Congress when you have the 3 of us?
Mm-hmm.
In the event that a host has both positions, they shall be introduced as the Ricky Benchmen. Also happened today.
See, effective legislation. Really, that's the thing you can take away from this show, is that we're good at legislating.
That we should rule the entire world.
Yep.
After the Rickies, the hosts then play a game called the Flexies. These 2 games are separate but related. Please stand for the reading of the rules. Correct regular picks are awarded 1 point. the language used for regular picks must be finalized and agreed upon during recording, and no partial points may be awarded. Correct risky picks are worth 2 points, but wrong ones will cause a point to be deducted from that host total. Picks must have been approved as risky by the 2 other hosts before the start of the game. Picks made for Keynote rookies cannot be reused by the host who made them for the next Keynote. The annual rookies have their own set of rules, but they don't matter today. For Keynote rookies, the scoring window starts when the live stream begins and closes when the picks are scored. That is basically right now. Any information used in scoring must be publicly verifiable at the time of recording. All hosts are allowed to reuse picks previously made by others. Scoring is completed during recording and cannot be modified once an episode is complete. In the event of a tie, Dice by PCalc must be used in Relay FM mode to pick a winner. In the case of a 3-way tie, hosts all make their calls at the same time, with flipping continuing until a winner is named. Now, speaking of flipping coins, Jason Snell has a lifetime ban on flipping any coins in relation to the rookies. Coin flips by Jason on other podcasts are allowed, but are frowned upon and subject to public shaming. The order of picks is set by previous performance. The winner of the previous associated game goes first, the previous loser goes last. Winners will be recognized during the closing ceremonies. As a reminder, Mike currently holds both titles, Annual and Keynote. Past results can be seen at rookies.co and rookies.net. These sites also have pages about managing your own scorekeeping at home. You may be seated.
Somebody wrote in, I can get the name in a moment, and they were saying, considering last time we spoke about some of the lore behind the Rickies, and we've done a little bit of it on this one with the weird fish, they wanted to know, this is Ben, why is Jason banned from flipping coins?
That's a good story.
So this was the 2018?
2018,
I think.
18 or not. 18 or 9, yeah.
We were doing a live show, as we do. I think we were in the Hammer Theater in San Jose, and we knew the day of that we were going to be going to a 3-way tie for the game. I think it might have been 2019, the chat is saying, but nevertheless. And we kind of came to realize that we were going to tie, and we wanted to resolve it for there to be a winner. This is when the game was still relatively early. So we decided, there are a couple of ways that we thought we could do it. And the way that I thought would be the most stupid was a coin flip knockout competition, which is actually different to how we do this now.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the way we wanted to do it then. So we wanted somebody to help us who was independent to flip the coin. And so during rehearsals, we asked Jason if he would do it, which is when we learned Jason cannot flip a coin. Can't do it. There is footage of this in the podcastathon last year because we asked Jason to flip coins so people could see it. Jason doesn't really flip a coin as much as he throws a coin into the air. Yeah. And so we ended up...
doesn't catch it also.
He doesn't catch it. Or he tries, but usually fails. And so what Jason did do was, I believe, he came onto stage and asked Siri to flip coins, which is then how we started doing that for a while until James Thompson built the coin flipping. And I will be putting into the show notes, Stephen just made these, a couple of GIFs of Jason in the podcastathon last year when we asked him to flip coins. So if you want to see why Jason has been banned from flipping coins in related to podcast games, then you can go to the show notes and find out why.
Yeah. Okay. Round 1. Mike, you're up.
More flexibility for app icon placement on the iPhone home screen.
No, we're not doing that anymore.
Oh, sorry, I forget.
Just make a ding sound. You can just ding us, Ding us up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this happened. Federico, have you done anything fun with your home screens?
Yeah. So I was playing around with it, and the only thing I could think of was maybe I'm gonna leave an empty spot in the upper right corner of my home screen, because like I mostly use my iPhone left-handed, I discovered. And so the upper right is where my thumb cannot reach. So I thought, well, that area I usually don't reach with my thumb, might as well try and put it empty. But I gotta say, I don't think this feature is for me. Because like now I'm looking at that empty spot and I'm thinking, well, that could just be filled with a widget or with icons. I don't know. I think I just got so used to an information dense home screen. And also like I am not the type of person who goes for like the home screen aesthetic. I'm more utilitarian. And so I don't think I'm happy that they have done this. They should have done it years ago. I'm glad this feature now exists on the iPad as well. Maybe it'll be more useful on the iPad. We'll see. But it's not for me.
I think it's going to be more interesting on the iPad in some ways to have empty spots. Or, I mean, because I'm kind of like you, Federico. Like, I want the density, and I use a pretty plain iPhone wallpaper on the home screen. Like, my lock screen's a photo of my wife, but the home screen's like a kind of a gray background. And so it's not like I'm framing them around a picture. I know a lot of people do that. And so for a lot of people, it will be very good. But I'm kind of like you, like on the iPhone, I've been playing with it. And it's like, yeah, I already had widgets at the top of the screen to move the icons down. And I like having that data there. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think it might take time. Like, I remember when they had widgets at first, like when they brought the new widget style in, I was very much like, but I like all my app icons.
Yeah.
And over time, I realized that, no, some widgets are better than... So my thing is like, I'm going to give it time, but I am in the same boat as you, Federico, where it's like, why would I have empty space? Because we've been used to this for like 15 years or whatever it's been now, not having empty spaces. So, but, you know, this is, I think, a fantastic feature for the people that will use it. Like, and it should have been this way for a long time. So I'm pleased that it's there, even if I'm not completely sure how I'm gonna use it yet.
Yeah. And speaking of widgets, I just wanted to point out, I believe this used to be a prediction of mine last year or 2 years ago, but in iOS 18, it finally came true. Legacy widgets have been discontinued.
Yep.
In like the pcalc widget, for example, some people still had, I believe, the home run widgets, I think. Anyway, those widgets in the Today page are no more. And
does that page still exist?
It does exist, but it's only for native modern widgets.
I feel like we should get rid of that. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point of that page anymore?
I like having widgets just like nearby, you know?
But you could just swipe over right and get widgets.
Yeah,
widgets can go anywhere, so why do they need
kind
to
of
be
ambivalent
there?
about it? Because I don't know, it is nice to have it. I don't know, there's something about going to the right side. Like, I'm not the type of person who has many home screens, and I don't know, I kind of prefer having widgets. Like, I try to have one home screen going all the time, just one page. And I kind of like the idea of widgets on the left, app library on the right, you know, if you have a single page like I do. But yeah, I get your point, Mike.
Here's my prediction. This is a long-term prediction, which obviously unscored. The introduction of Control Center and the changes to Control Center is going to kill off that page. I reckon next year that page is gone because people will migrate a lot of their like quick actions that they think that go on that page to Control Center actions.
Maybe.
It's possible.
I think. So you're swiping left on the Today view is what you're doing.
Yeah, here's the fun thing.
Isn't that what you do? You swipe left.
I don't know whether left or right is the good one.
Swipe left meaning.
We're very old. None of us needed Tinder in our lives.
Swipe left means to reject.
Yeah.
Okay, so I am swiping left on it then.
Okay,
because I don't want it anymore.
Glad we cleared that up.
Wow, that was bad. Rough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we move on?
Let's move on. Federico.
Round 1, I said there are some design and navigation updates to the Settings app across multiple platforms.
Ding.
Yeah. So we did not get a major settings revamp on macOS, I think, but there are changes on iOS and iPadOS for sure.
Yeah.
The main thing they've done is, as we predicted, they copied visionOS. And so now all of your apps settings are into an apps subpage of settings, which has made the main settings page shorter. And, if you want to change something for an app, you know that you got to go into the apps section. There are also some new headings for sections. The iCloud settings page has been redesigned with some new colors, some new icons. Obviously, passwords has been moved out of settings and into a standalone app. So there's a bunch of things
Apple
like
account, right? So they
Apple
changed
account.
stuff because Apple ID is now Apple account.
Yeah.
Now it's your Apple account, which
I
is
think
a good name.
I think that's a
Yeah.
good, just a
good
good
name.
branding change.
I like it.
It's a good name. I like
Apple
it. I like
ID.
it.
Now when you say it, it's like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
What are we getting at here? Yeah, Apple account is
Apple
better.
account,
Yeah.
much better. So yeah, it's not like a drastic redesign. It's more of a reorganization of sorts.
Yeah.
And I think it's at least from what I've seen on iOS and iPadOS, they've done a pretty good job, I think.
It doesn't seem like they've actually really done what everybody wanted, which was a big change on the Mac, though, which is a shame.
Yeah, and
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Okay. My round one pick was there is no new hardware announced or released.
Mm-hmm.
Ding. Yeah.
This one seemed a bit tentative for you for a little bit, right? Because it took the store down. I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
here we go." So he's gonna get some phone case or something, but no, you made it out.
I did. I was nervous when the store went down. Like I was like, "Oh, what are you doing, Apple? Don't do it to me." But escaped without any hardware. Software only show for almost. What was the final time, Mike? A little over 2 hours, or right at 2 hours?
It was about an hour and 45, something like that.
Okay. So yeah, no new hardware. So at the end of round one, we are tied.
Question for you both, like talking about the runtime. Maybe densest feeling WWDC?
Probably. Yeah.
Because really, there were two WWDCs. Like,
Yes.
I imagine a world where if they just did everything that was in the first half, it would have been fine, right? We would have come away and been like, there's some good stuff here, I suppose. Like, you're thinking back to was it 13 where they introduced Swift and basically had nothing else? Do you remember that year?
2014.
We watched it at
2014.
Twitter's office.
Yeah,
which was,
2014.
It was
wow, think about
iOS
that now.
8, if I'm not
Think
mistaken.
about that
Yeah.
now. That was a time. And I remember it was just like, there just wasn't really much to talk about, if I'm remembering it correctly. But it definitely wasn't that, right? Like they really had their stuff together.
They were hinting the whole first half, right? They kept mentioning like the machine learning intelligence, and I felt like, okay, we know what's coming. But yeah, really, it was the platforms WWDC that we've come to know over the last 10 or 15 years, and then all the intelligent stuff and kind of dropping back into the platforms as they went. I still think and kind of hope for a day where the keynote is arranged around features and not platforms, but that's pretty inside baseball. And I think they like highlighting that they're moving all their platforms forward, even if it's uneven. So it's probably how it's going to be.
That's an interesting thought. I want to think about that a little bit. Like, what would that look like and what would the ramifications of that be? Like, in a different year, like if it's very normal, there would be like things coming to the iPhone that aren't on the iPads. Like, what do you do in that scenario, do you think?
Yeah.
If you're doing a features one?
Sure. I mean, that could have happened this year. We didn't really talk about it, but the home screen stuff is on both the iPhone and iPad at the same time. And that's a first with widgets on the home screen. Like then they were like stuck in the weird sidebar on the iPad. Like that was a weird year. They weren't on the lock screen. This year they're in step, but to your point, more often than not, they're out of step. And so, yeah, I guess that does throw a wrench in a feature-based keynote.
Feels like that could have, like, that to me could have been like a very easy, somebody made that as their first round pick because like we would just naturally assume that the iPad would not get it, and but luckily nobody made that pick this time around.
Okay, so round 2, Mike, you're up again.
Notification summaries are powered by a new AI system.
Ding. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
But
no,
it,
why?
What you
Why-
questioning?
No, sorry.
Why question
sorry. No,
mark
I shouldn't
ding?
have questioned. It's fine. I shouldn't have questioned the ding. You have the
Okay.
point.
Never question the ding, okay?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I was kind of surprised at how fast this went. Like, I don't know if I have my hands around what this actually looks like yet.
Oh, this is like my favorite thing. Like, there's there
educate
are
me.
a couple of things going on here, and Federico, you can correct me if I'm wrong about any of it. So, point one is like, if you have loads of notifications, Apple Intelligence is going to bring forward to the top of the list the things that it believes are the most important for you to look at.
Yeah.
If there is a group chat which is popping off,
Yeah.
and my hope would be that it would also do this for stuff for like third-party apps too, but I don't know about that yet. It will actually look at the contents of the message and summarize what's going on in those messages. So like, Bob and Mary and Jim are talking about this update to the latest house rules or whatever. Like it's going to look at the content and like sum it up for you. And then also there is a new focus mode, which is called something that I'll...
Reduce interruptions.
Thank you, Federico. Reduce interruptions. And that one, you just turn that on, and if the system believes there is something you need to see, it will tell you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think this is all really good. Clearly, notifications are a problem. They're always going to be a problem. Maybe we should just have the AI manage it for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do think
I'm excited about it.
it's interesting because it's like the summarization tools, like in Mail or other places, but kind of across different things. I don't know. Something about that is interesting.
There's a lot of summarization, and that is like overall my favorite of all of the AI features. It's just anywhere they're summarizing anything. Like the email thing where they summarize what's in the email in that like little preview line.
Super
if you get
smart.
a long email and they give you a TLDR, like all of that stuff is like fantastic. Like summarize, or like the stuff that's in Safari, which isn't Apple Intelligence. It's just available in Safari. But it feels like that kind of thing where you can go to a web page in Reader, and the first thing it will show you before it shows you the Reader view is, here's what's on this web page. So I think all of that stuff is great, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, you guys know me, I don't like to read. Do the reading for me, computer. I don't want to read this.
Computers love reading.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I have mixed feelings about the summarization in the browser, but we'll talk about that in a bit, I guess.
Yeah. Look, the feature and how the feature is possible, different things, right? Like,
Can you separate the art from the artist?
no, but that's not actually what I'm saying. What I'm saying, like, there is a feature, right? But like, if they would have gotten to that feature by not scraping the open web, then you would be okay with it, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. That what it's doing
Yeah.
is one thing. How it got there is another thing. Important, but I believe there is a distinction between the two.
So round 2, my pick was there is a new system for changing the colors of icons on the home screen.
Ding!
Ding. Yes,
Well, that was
and
an
they're
emphatic
ugly.
ding.
Well, no, look. Okay, I think so. I also think this is not for me. I think some people will manage to make it look nice. I don't think my personal taste. Okay, just my personal opinion. My personal taste. I don't even think Apple's own marketing images look good. Like,
No.
I just think even the good ones are horrible.
Like the one they showed in the keynote with the dog and it's yellow, it's like that just, to me,
and they were so
not
proud of it.
nice. Yeah,
I thought I was losing my mind. Like I thought I was like I should have looked around for cameras pointing at me or something. Like, okay, I'm the joke. Like, okay, I get it. Now we're all like convinced that this is looking nice. Sure. No, I don't think it looks nice. I think it's also like, you know me, I love customization. Putting the power in the hands of consumers, like I'm all in favor of it. But I think there should maybe have been a better developer story other than, hey, when you sign the updated developer agreement, you're also agreeing that users will be able to change the colors of your icons. And I think maybe there could have been an API or something better to say, hey, developers, people will be able to do this. Here's a few ways for you to properly optimize your icons, or, or maybe there could have been a way to say maybe the icon could be of a certain color, but like multiple shades of the same color. Like, I just think that applying a blue filter or a red filter on top of icons and just call it a day, while easy, right? As a concept and as an implementation, I also think it leads to some very, very questionable visual results.
Like I think that they came to the conclusion that I think we were talking about maybe last week of big brands aren't going to they're not going to allow this if they're given the choice, right? That if it's like a thing where you have to provide us with a certain icon so people can do this, they're not going to do it. So this is like the only way they could do it. It's just they apply it broadly and you have no choice in the matter. But I believe, like you, that the actual implementation that Apple has gone with leads to not good results. And I think it would be better if people could actually choose different colors.
Yes.
And I don't know if they're going to do this, but I hope that they do.
And like, I don't even think Apple, sometimes this happens with Apple when they listen to feedback. And I think they misunderstood what a lot of people were asking for. In fact, Matt Birchler was posting about this on Mastodon a few days ago, I think. If you look at literally any of the most popular aesthetic home screen icon packs or tutorials on places like Etsy, Gumroad, YouTube, or TikTok, and if you sample, say, the top 20 of those aesthetic home screens, none of them are based on this style. All of them are based on maybe all pastel color icons, or maybe beige icons, or maybe pure black icons and white color glyphs. Like, they're not going for this style. And I think if you wanted to make those people happy, rather than doing this, you would have done something different, which is, let me customize the icon by choosing from a photo or by choosing from a file right there from the home screen instead of having to make a shortcut for it. And so I think this is a case of Apple misunderstanding what the market wanted and making a feature that, in theory, like, power to the people. I mean, sure, like, the principle is based on a strong foundation of users should be able to do what they want, but the implementation, it's let's face it, it's a little ugly.
I wonder if it would be better if you could choose, because every time you do this, they turn the icons black. I don't know why, but that's what they do. Like, it's black and then the color you've chosen. Yeah. Maybe it would be better if you could just choose two colors.
Maybe,
right?
Yes.
Like maybe that would produce.
Maybe my actual problem is the black color of the icons. I just think, like, even if you look at that example you just pasted into Discord, the second one, with the photo of the person walking on the sand dunes and the icons around the photo, like, the contrast between those black icons and the rest of the picture is so ugly to me. Yep. I can't believe this is a marketing material from Apple.
Those are from which I'll put in the show notes, the iOS 18 preview page. Like, they're the two examples that they've picked.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, you can change. Anyway, once again, I get the point. Yeah. Steven, you're up.
Apple mentions that it has created its own LLM. Ding.
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 Yeah.
Ding.
No.
Ding. Ding. In this economy, yes. So Apple has its own large language models. Apple's collectively calling these models the foundation models. It's kind of how they refer to them. And we have some links in the show notes to Apple's machine learning blog. But this, I think, is, we touched on it a second ago. But Federico, do you want to talk about the training a little bit?
Yeah, so they almost offhandedly mentioned in one of the Q&As that they did at Apple Park, moderated by iJustine. I believe Craig Federighi first mentioned that they also used crawling using Applebot on the open web,
Yeah.
which is also something that they confirmed on the machine learning website.
Yeah, and the talk show. It came up in the talk
And the
show as
talk
well.
show. Okay. I personally am very offended by this, and I find it very insulting to publishers and to creators on the web. Not just because of the technique being used, obviously scraping the web to use the data as training for AI that will be in a commercial product, but to add insult to the injury is the fact that we were told after the fact and we were given instructions on how to block Applebot Extended now that the training has been done. So yay, thank you for that. Now I can block it now, but you've been scraping websites for months at this point. And the reason I'm so upset is that of all companies that do this, and literally every AI company does this, save for I think one exception. I think I did some research. I only was able to find one LLM based on all licensed and open source content. I believe LLM 360 is the only one that does this. But of all companies,
that sounds made up.
It's like a Roma 360.
Trust me, it's not. But of all companies, I was expecting more from Apple. And to just say this in a blog post, we also use data from the open web. I am not okay with it. And I think it's pretty disgusting. Would be
It's disappointing.
Yes.
It's disappointing, and I think it is another of the symptoms of how recently they started this project. That they felt like they needed to be on this quickly, and it did not give them the opportunity to do it better.
I'm sure that's part of the problem.
What I believe is the case. That
I hope that's the case, and I hope it's not instead a case of thinking. I see this misconception, and it was part of the responses that I got after I posted about this on Mastodon, that anything that is on the open web, you should be okay with AI crawlers ingesting that content.
Yeah.
And I think that is so wrong as an assumption to make.
Yeah.
That it's okay
this is the excuse people will tell themselves and tell others after they've done it to excuse the fact that they
Yeah. And if it was okay, we wouldn't see these instances of companies suing other AI companies, like, for example, the New York Times suing OpenAI and then making a deal, like an official deal with OpenAI. Vox Media has made a similar...
There are... I don't think the New York Times has done a deal with
OpenAI. They haven't made one? Okay. So
New York Times is suing OpenAI.
Okay.
Yeah.
So New York
They're
Times
holding out. They're holding out.
But Vox Media has cut a deal with OpenAI.
Yeah, and a bunch of others, like Business Insider, maybe. There are lots of deals that are being done. But no, the Times is like, they want to win, right? And
yeah, so look, if OpenAI knew that what they were doing was morally and legally acceptable, right? That anything that is on the open web, it's fair use to appropriate it and use it for training, they wouldn't cut deals now, would they? If it was okay.
I think this is... Well, I think they think it's okay, but they also don't want to lose in court. I think that's the situation. Right?
They're
just trying to protect themselves. But I do believe that these people think that it's fine. And that, to me, is the affront of it all.
Yes.
Right.
And what I find even more concerning is the fact that, for example, in a bunch of interviews that, as an aside, Apple has been, has been on a bunch of different interviews with YouTubers this week. You can find Tim Cook and Craig Federighi on a lot of everywhere on YouTube.
Full court press this
Yeah.
past week.
And it seems like Craig, for example, genuinely loves image generation in Apple Intelligence, to the point where he actually went on an interview and said, "Oh, I love sending generated images of other people to my friends." And I felt like I don't know. I will just point people to your excellent discussion with Jason on Upgrade, Mike, where
Thank you.
You both summed up a lot of my feelings on the situation very well. So instead of rehashing that here, people should go listen to that.
If you want to see how emotional I get, we also clipped that part on YouTube. I'll put both in it. I am very upset about the image stuff. Like, we haven't even gotten to that yet.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to that, which I don't know if we have somewhere that we will naturally get to that in this show. So maybe
probably
we'll just
not.
like squeeze it in after this. But you have made decisions, Federico, that I think I would like to unpack a little bit.
Yeah. For now, we have disallowed all AI crawlers from Mac Stories. Over the weekend, we are going to go one step beyond. Right now, we're just telling crawlers not to crawl our website for AI using the robots.txt file, which is just like putting up a warning sign that anybody can ignore. But over the weekend, we are actually going to roll out a server-side change that will actively block those crawlers, including Applebot Extended, from accessing Mac Stories, period. Because I'm done with these things. I am not okay with it. Fundamentally, I believe it's a technology that will kill the web as we know it and will hurt people and their businesses for years to come. And these companies and we collectively will come to regret it. We just don't see it now because we are collectively blinded by the shininess of it all. But we will come to regret it once we realize that in order to power these fancy features, we have killed dozens and hundreds maybe of websites and web-based businesses that got their content stolen from them just to power these fancy new functionalities. So that's my opinion. Yeah.
Stephen, what's your thoughts on all this? The tech stuff, the AI training stuff, all of that.
Yeah, I don't know if I've had enough time to think it through as thoroughly as Federico has, but on first blush, I don't like that content is being sucked into these things without a return to the maker of that content. You know, I saw somebody on social media argue like, well, how is it different from Google search or whatever? I was like, well, I'm getting a page view out of it. I'm not. And, you know, on one hand, I want these chatbots to be really knowledgeable about the Macintosh Performa. And so they have my content to make that possible. But I'm not seeing any return from that. And they are. And that's pretty gross.
Or maybe at least you were never given the option.
That's, I think, the biggest thing is that Apple did this and then talked about it after the fact. And a little, at least in the talk show, my impression of it when they gave the answer was they were kind of sheepish about it. Like when one of my kids does something wrong and like we both know they did it and I asked them if they did it, you know, kind of that vibe. And I wanted them to be better than that.
It is particularly interesting in a situation like, you know, an interview like that. And I'm sure it's going to be interesting going forward where Apple is participating in these journalistic endeavors because they want people to hear about their products, while at the same time devaluing the work of the same people.
Yeah.
I am intrigued to see what that relationship adapts to over time for people that produce content like this. Like for me, with the content that I make, it doesn't bother me. Like, I am very sure that my voice is a part of any voice transcription model that exists, because I've produced hundreds of hours of free podcasts, right? Like if you're building something like Whisper, right? Like OpenAI's Whisper, the easiest data set in the world is the podcast directory. It's already there. Like you can just point something at it and go for it. For me, it doesn't because what podcasts are, it doesn't really bother me. Like page views or whatever, you know what I mean? Like I feel like for written
But
text,
it's not okay for them to use your voice. Like it's not.
Sure.
It's not okay.
Yeah, because we didn't agree to it, right? And so, like, I'm
Yeah.
not saying. I'm just saying, like, for me personally, like, it doesn't bother me for me. It bothers me for you, if you know what I mean. I am more upset about the idea of them taking text that's on the web than audio that's on the web. I don't know why. It's just my emotions. But because like also it's like the business models of it all, right? So like podcasts don't make money based on how many people, at least the way we do it, listen to the episode, right? Because it's all done before. So that like me losing, yeah, I don't know. It's just it's hard to explain your emotional reaction to something, but I'm upset at the fact that they did this to websites. It bothers me. And I have bigger problems for me than this, but like I'm very disappointed in them that they did it and they didn't tell anyone they were doing it, and now they just want us to accept it and forget about it. And I think it's a shame. It's a great shame in my opinion.
And let me say, because I've seen this happen as well on social media, it's okay for people to have complicated and potentially conflicting feelings about these things. Right? We can be excited about the technology and disappointed by how the technology was formed. We can be excited about the creative tools that things like image generation unlocked, but also be worried about things like bullying or deepfakes, right? Those things can all exist in the same person. And so when you hear us or other people, or even as you think about this yourself, it's okay to be conflicted or have complicated feelings, because this is a complicated and honestly pretty new thing to consider. I mean, I felt myself really struggling with that at the talk show, like listening to this interview and kind of like rapidly going from excitement to sort of horror, like all like kind of back and forth. And I've come to the place to like, you know what, this is just big and complicated, and it's okay if my feelings aren't completely sorted out yet. And it's okay if our feelings change over time, right? So we all just need some grace in this, because I think that it's a new world for so many people, and we're going to feel different about it as content creators than a regular consumer. I'm going to think about differently as a parent, potentially, as someone who doesn't have kids with iPhones, right? There's a lot of stuff here. So I would just keep that in mind when we're having these conversations, when you're listening to us have these conversations, that we're figuring this out as we go, and it's okay if that changes over time.
Mm-hmm.
Feelings.
Yeah.
Who knew? It is a very feelings-heavy WWDC.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can't get away from it. Like, it's... I think for a lot of people, their conception of Apple is changing further. And I think that is very complicated for a lot of people to be able to handle. I feel like I can handle it because I, for a long time, have had complicated feelings with the way that they manage their business endeavors. But ultimately, I am a fan of technology and exciting technology. And I think that there is exciting technology here, even if I don't agree with all of the ways that it's been done. But I think there is a whole new wave of people that are trying to work out how to navigate their emotions and the realities of the situation. And I think that's just going to play out for a little while. And we've all just kind of got to strap in and deal with it, you know?
Oh, yeah. Everybody will deal with it their own way, I guess. Yeah. Let's move on to funnier things, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. This episode of Connected is brought to you by AdBlock Pro. AdBlock Pro gives you a smoother experience while using Safari. Those infuriating autoplay videos, deceptive little close buttons that they hide, relentless scrolling banners, and sketchy redirects, you can wave them all goodbye and welcome in a decluttered and more delightful browsing experience. Are you constantly bombarded with those annoying allow cookie pop-ups? You can effortlessly dismiss them with AdBlock Pro. You can mute comment sections on popular websites and even selectively block page elements with a simple tap. And unlike some other services, AdBlock Pro is available now on Vision OS. And not only that, AdBlock Pro has earned itself a spotlight by Apple on the App Store not once, but twice, but 3 times. 3 times a spotlight, as they say, in the Safari extensions category. So make Safari snappier with AdBlock Pro and dive into a web that's 2 to 3 times faster, slashing your data usage by up to 60% and extending your device's battery life. And you can experience basic ad blocking completely free. Or for the cost of just 2 coffees annually, you can unearth premium features that will transform your browsing journey across your iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Vision Pro. And with family sharing, one subscription covers up to 6 accounts, and they have lifetime options available as well. So take action, jump into the App Store and search AdBlock Pro and transform your Safari experience today. That's AdBlock Pro in the App Store. Our thanks to AdBlock Pro for sponsoring the show and Relay FM. So we're going to circle back to image generation, and then we'll get to the risky picks. This is something that I was a little surprised to see. It feels like this is the riskiest thing Apple has introduced. And even though they have a lot of, it seems like a lot of boundaries around what this technology can do, there are some things in here that are a bit surprising. So, for example, there's only 3 styles of artwork, and lifelike or realistic is not one of them. They're going to look cartoony or hand-sketched or animated, but they're clearly trying to steer clear of deep fakes. But you can create an image of anybody in your photo library, and that feels not great to me. I think about this in the context of my 2, well, now high school students in my house, and like that could be pretty hurtful if someone makes an image that is making fun of somebody. And I said this on Mac Power Users, but image generation doesn't feel new to us because we've been playing with these tools for a couple of years, right? We've all played with DALL-E and the other things, but this is going to be now in the pockets or on the desks of a whole bunch of people who are experiencing it for the first time. And I just kind of wish Apple hadn't gone so far down the road of the image generation stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the, in addition to the web scraping, I just find this so sad. And I think they shouldn't have done it. I was hoping they wouldn't do it. And this is where, unfortunately, I can feel for the first time in maybe years that I've been doing what I do for a living, I can feel a disconnect between my opinions and my thoughts and what this company is pushing forward. And for me, seeing Federighi in interviews being so wildly excited for image generation, a feature that I personally find so gross and potentially dangerous, I'm like, how, it makes me worried about future features that this company will make, because I strongly, strongly dislike this one so much. And I think it's so sad that I'm sure they felt almost obligated to do it. And I hate, I'm going to do something that I don't think I've done in years, because I think it's such a silly argument. But I've been thinking about it, and I'm just going to say it. And I hate being that person, but I'll take the responsibility.
Yes, do it. Oh, do it.
I wonder if Steve Jobs would have done it.
Yeah, you go.
Like,
And you know
I-
what? I agree with you.
I hate using this card in this argument, but
It's because it's a terrible argument, right?
But it's
Like,
everything I've been thinking about,
Yeah.
literally. So
I think that this move lacks taste,
yeah,
right? And I
Yes.
think that's what you're
Yes.
getting at, right?
Yeah.
And so,
yes,
and I think it's an easier thing to say than the Steve Jobs thing, right? But I actually
Yes.
do completely agree with you. I had not thought of that, but I agree with you completely. Like, as I said, as we were saying earlier, everyone has their own emotions. This is the thing that upsets me the most
Mhm.
because I don't think that this did not even cross my mind as a thing that they would do because honestly, I don't even think they need to. Like, I don't think people are particularly calling for this type of stuff.
No,
Like, this
No.
felt like the thing that happened and is mostly gone away because I think in general people don't like AI art. Like, I feel like if you spend any time on Instagram right now and you see like any brand that posts anything that looks like it was animated, people think
Yeah.
it's AI art and they're so
Yeah.
mad about it.
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and I feel bad for artists because there are a bunch of brands where I see this and I'm like, I'm convinced that this company is not using AI art, but everybody thinks they are because it's not a photo. And I don't really understand why they've done this. I think it's particularly bad that it's of other people, as you said, Stephen. That is the part where I'm like, all right, you've decided to go in this complete different direction that nobody else has done. And like, what's the path here? Like, at what point are these images photorealistic? Like, why would they not do that too in like 3 years' time? Why is it always going to be a cartoon? Like, I think it's
Yeah.
only a cartoon right now because it's all they can do. And they can't even do that well. That's the thing that annoys me the most. They look terrible.
They
Like,
look
you
terrible,
didn't
and
even
also
do it well.
they want to ease you into that. So obviously they're not gonna do realistic now, but can you be sure that they never will?
No,
No, you can't.
no, you can't be sure. And I really think that they just can't right now, which is why
Yes,
one of the reasons
there's
they
also
haven't.
there's also that. Yes.
So this part to me is just like, you didn't need to do it, and you did it, and you didn't even do it very well. So what was the point?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
emoji,
Yeah.
fine. The emoji, you know what? That's good. Fun, right? I like that. Even it's a thin line, but the fact that you can make an emoji that looks like a memoji, it looks like someone else, I still don't love that, but that's okay-ish, I guess, right? Like when it's actually like not the memoji, you can make an emoji character somewhat visually represent someone else, right? Like this is in the like emoji creation thing. I still don't love that, but like that is as far as I think they should have gone, rather than the create a memoji, which is more on the lifelike, is going to actually take more of somebody's facial features and try and craft something that looks like them. But like the emoji, Genmoji, terrible name, but fine, right? That I can not just have a pizza, I can create an emoji which is pineapple on a pizza. That feels like a fun thing to do with your friends, and they're going to look like emoji. That would have been, you know what? A great feature that everyone would have been excited about. But this now lives in the shadow of, Image Playground, which is just out and out for me, distasteful, bad feature. Even the ones where it's like make an inanimate object, again, it's like, it just doesn't look very good, gang. Like, I'm not sure that you really got out of this what you wanted. The AI the UI that you've built looks great. The result, I don't think it does. And like, maybe your model's going to get better over time, but like maybe you should have faked it for the presentation then, because if this is your best foot forward, I'm not really sure that the juice was worth the squeeze on this one.
Yeah.
It felt like this is the most we have to catch up part of all that they're doing. And I don't like that feeling either. Like, I can tell you from being there for a few days, I've never been to a WWDC, and I've been since 2013, every year except the 2 COVID years. I've never been to one of these things where when you ask somebody, like, hey, what are your thoughts on the keynote? The first thing out of their mouth is, well...
Yeah.
And it all came down to this. And the feeling that Apple is doing something because they think that they have to, not because they think that they should or that it's best for their customers. And that's weird, y'all. Like it's weird to see Apple doing features and adding technology to their platforms because they think the world has a leg up on them, which is very unusual. Not something I've seen very much in my career covering this company.
Yeah. And I'm seriously debating with myself right now what to do with these features in my iOS review.
Oh my
later
word.
this year.
I hadn't even thought of that. I
gotta say right now I am leaning toward not reviewing parts of it because I just refuse to touch them. But I could be swayed, in different directions. I know that it's objectively, in a way, my duty to review them. But also, should I review and shine a spotlight on a technology that I find disgusting and potentially dangerous? Probably not. So
here's what I will say. This is your choice. I would say you should do it and then say how you feel about it. Because it's not like these features don't exist, right?
They do exist. But yeah, very complex
feelings. You need to decide that for yourself. We'll see
when the day comes. Let's move on to the risky picks, which is another sad moment, but in a different way.
My risky pick was Vision OS 2 has keyboard pass-through in an environment, and it works with any keyboard, not just the ones that Apple makes. This is the closest I think I've gotten to a risky pick in a long time. I'm so close. So close.
If only you removed the part after the comma.
Yeah, but I don't think you would have let me do it.
No. And you said with any Apple keyboard, but we probably wouldn't have let you.
I don't think you would have let me. I thought about it. Like if I would have said that they have a keyboard pass-through in an environment, I don't think you would have let me pick that.
No, probably not. Some people have gotten this to kind of work with third-party keyboards, but it seems accidental. Apple says...
I've not been able to do it.
Okay, yeah. I think someone at The Verge said, it works occasionally, but this is something that Apple says is for their keyboards. That's what they've trained, I guess, their models on to let you see the keyboard when you're fully immersed in an environment, which is a good change because if you can't see what you're typing... that can be problematic.
Yep, it's a very good change, but I wish that they would have taken it one step further than this. But it's a good feature. It's another good quality of life feature for Vision OS, but it does not get me a point.
Yeah, sorry, bud.
Yeah, I said Apple shows a Siri camera, not official name, feature that lets you point the iPhone at something and use AI to understand what you're looking at. It'll use AI to determine various types of information, such as objects or text in real time. It may not ship this year. Obviously, I did not get this. And I mean, they couldn't get their little AI figurines look right, imagine real-time information on the camera. So... yeah, I did not get
I like AI figurines, by the way. It's as a way to reference these little characters that they've built.
They're not art. Art is something else.
Little figurines. I like that.
It's good. I did not get my related risky pick. Apple previews a new Vision OS feature that puts overlays over the camera pass-through with information about objects in view.
Which, to be fair, I think collectively, these three sort of AI-based features would have been better AI features than whatever they announced.
Well, I get. Look, we've gone into the upset spiral. I think the system features for Apple Intelligence look really good, and I'm very excited about them. I'm excited about the notification stuff. I'm excited about my phone remembering things for me that I can say. I had this today where I know I'd taken a picture of some notes, but I didn't remember when they were, and search wasn't helping me. And I feel like if I asked my phone, I was like, I took pictures of these notes after a meeting with my accountant. Can you help me? Yeah. All of that kind of stuff looks incredible, and I can't wait. Better Siri, fantastic. Give me it. There's so much of the operating system features, like the mail stuff, like prioritizing email messages for me, the automatic sorting, which is happening anyway, but like all of this stuff, like anything where it's the device helping me do stuff, love it. It's anything generation, like creating new, that I don't like, right? I can draw a line for me where I'm happy with the idea of take my text and rewrite it for me. Like I can accept that because I do these features. Like I do this stuff with ChatGPT. Like I write stuff out and I'm like, help me fix the grammar here, make this read better, and it does it for me. Like I'm fine with that. It's the image stuff is my biggest bugbear, right? I even like the way that they've integrated ChatGPT. I think of all the ways you could have done that, they chose the best way of doing it. Where like OpenAI is not in the OS like we thought it was going to be, right? Like powering something. No, it's just replacing Google essentially. Like it's instead of Google searching, which is what Siri currently does, it will ChatGPT search for you instead.
Well, they are not sending user data to ChatGPT, but they do that with Google. So, there are some differences.
They send user data with Google?
I mean, right? Like Google knows what you're searching and where you are and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't know that if I ask a thing and a series like I found this on the web for you, I don't know if that's being
fair
attached to me, right?
Fair.
I don't know.
Yeah. And OpenAI is not getting the big money from Google that Apple gets.
They're not getting anything. No one's paying anything, apparently.
Doing it for exposure.
Yep. Well, yep. And yeah, so I think that Apple Intelligence has a lot of features that I'm interested about, but I just don't think that they I don't think that they landed the plane on this one very well. And I think that there are a lot of holes in this, and it's awkward and upsetting and frustrating. But I'm just saying, like, I don't want to throw all of this out as like I hate it and it's bad. Personally, everyone can feel free to do whatever they want, but that's where I'm coming from.
So we're tied once again.
Yeah. We got closer though. Like I think we're getting there, right? Like if the goal is get the risky picks, I think we're closer to that being a thing. So we're just gonna keep working hard as a group.
Yeah.
I think so.
Which means we gotta flip coins.
Yep. I'm gonna say heads.
I'm also gonna say heads.
I will also say no. I'm just kidding. I will do tails.
Well, I mean, this could be a quick one then. That's fine.
Tails.
Wow.
Boom!
That's how it happens.
That's it.
There you go. No more benchman. Goodbye, benchmanship.
Steven wins.
I am the keynote chairman.
Congratulations,
Steven.
Okay, y'all have to flip for a second.
Welcome to Chairman Club, Steven. It's nice.
Oh, it's so good.
Welcome to chairmanship.
The air is fresher. The water is cleaner.
Welcome on board the chairmanship.
Oh, the chairmanship. Like that's where we are? We're on the ship?
Me and you.
Okay.
Me and you. You're flying, Steven.
Okay.
Far away.
Okay. Y'all have to go for the loser.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. You pick, Federico. Heads or tails?
Heads.
Okay, the sound didn't work, but it is heads. So you are second and I do lose. Unless you think this is a conspiracy, is your want to think in these things. Are you happy with this scenario?
No, it's only a conspiracy when I lose.
Ah, good to know.
So
I mean, it's just good to hear you say it,
Yeah. Look, at least I'm honest,
So
one of my many qualities.
Oh, let me update my trophy. I better, I guess in the break, I'm going to go update my trophy.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Going online without ExpressVPN is a bit like not having a case for your phone. Most of the time, you'll probably be fine. But all it takes is one drop, and take it from me, I know, and you'll wish that you spent those extra few dollars on a case. When you connect to an unencrypted network in cafes, hotels, airports, etc., your online data isn't secure. Someone on the same network could gain access to your personal data, including passwords, bank logins, credit card details, and other things you wouldn't want in someone else's hands. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure, encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. And there's loads of reasons to choose ExpressVPN over other products. It's super secure. It would take a hacker with a supercomputer over 1 billion years to get past ExpressVPN's encryption. It's easy to use. Just fire up the app and click one button to get protected. And it works on all your devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more, so you can stay secure on the go. Plus, it's been rated the #1 VPN by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge. One of my favorite things about ExpressVPN is just how fast it is. You don't have your traffic slowed down by using their service. It's plenty fast to stream, and that is not true of all products in this category. And that's important to me. If I'm using a VPN, I want to make sure that I can still do what I need to on the web without everything running at a crawl. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/connected. That's expressvpn.com/connected, and you can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. That's expressvpn.com/connected. Our thanks to ExpressVPN for their support of the show and Relay FM. The Flexies is a game held after each edition of the Rickies. It consists of a series of additional picks in relation to the upcoming Apple event or year. Scoring is completed separately from the main game, but like the Rickies, the order of picks is set by the results of the previous game, and ties will be broken by using dice by PCalc. Please lie down as the rules are read. Host must make a minimum of 5 Flexi picks. Each correct pick is awarded with 1 point. Wrong picks do not remove any points, and no partial points may be awarded. The winner is determined by comparing the percentage of correct Flexis made by each host. The winner can use their chosen title as long as they are the winner. Federico shall be named Prince Flexi and is known as King Flexi when having won both the keynote and annual games. Mike has chosen Duke of Flexington and uses the name Archduke Flexington when applicable. Stephen, which is me, I just read my name out, is the Attorney General Flexi and uses the title Secretary of Deflex when necessary. Loser of the Flexis must compensate the winner of the Flexis by donating to a charity of the winner's choice. The amount of the donation is $25 per wrong Flexi made by the loser, and the money, of course, must be donated on air. I am currently the winner of both the keynote and annual Flexis, making me the Secretary of Deflex. We'll see if that holds up after today. If someone holds all 4 titles, so in the regular game and the Flexis, they're allowed to choose their own nickname. You may be seated.
All right.
Okay, I was first, and well, let's just start at the top. We do not see Sam Altman's face in the presentation.
Ding. Although he was in attendance.
There's a very funny picture of him and Eddie Q.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. It goes downhill from there. Okay. Some AI features on the Mac require an M2 or later. M1, which is good. It's much more brutal on the iPhone side, where you need an A17 Pro, so the 15 Pro or Pro Max. That's rough. Okay, my third pick. It again, still not good. At least 2 of Apple's first-party apps escape iPad compatibility mode on Vision OS to become full-blown native apps. I don't think any got updated.
I haven't seen any.
Not good. Improvements to Stage Manager are announced. No. Sequoia got tiling. I think that personally would be kind of cool on the iPad, but not there.
So I'm not sure if this is true. I've tried to verify this myself, and some places say it's true, and I'm not 100% sure, but this was patented by Microsoft as part of Vista, and that patent expired last year.
I don't think that's true. I checked.
I did some Googling and found that there was a patent that expired, but I don't know. Right? This is what I'm saying. I've not been able to find it definitively. But I like that story if it's true, you know?
It's, man, Vista. Anytime we can talk about Vista is exciting, really. They had some weird ideas in there. Something in iOS 18 picks up the UI used in the iOS 17 picker and messages. Nothing. It's still
one
weird.
One of the weirdest picks, not UI.
Yeah.
Journal app comes to iPad OS. Does not. It does get searched though. That's good.
Great.
The next version of Mac OS is named Tahoe. More like Ta-No.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good job.
What is
Thanks.
that? What's
That's
your score?
1 out of 7 or 14.2%.
14.2% sounds better than 1 out of 7.
Yeah.
not
Okay,
great.
so I start with RCS is not spoken aloud in the keynote. It was. I was close to where it was going to fit on the bento board. It was like one spot over from the bottom left, which was my just verbal pick, which is not committed. Standby mode for iPad OS did not happen. I'm really sad about that. 3, at least one of the coming soon environments in Vision OS 2 is removed. I mean, technically, one of them was replaced with the actual thing. So there is one less coming soon instance in Vision OS 2?
No, that's not what you meant.
No?
Sorry.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you think I meant. But unbelievably, the one that says coming, the other one is still there and says coming soon, which is, I kind of can't believe that that's the case. Point 4, Apple announces some new immersive video content coming to Vision Pro.
Ding.
Thank you. Apple announces an AI deal with Google.
They want it, but
They
didn't.
really want it. They want it, but they've not gotten it because I think Google want cash and Apple doesn't want to give them that.
Yep.
Vision Pro international availability is mentioned.
Ding.
It was actually announced. So
Yep.
it's rolling out in a couple of phases for June and July.
A lot of Asian countries.
To start,
and then some Europe.
Yep. And finally, chatbot features from AI partners are available only to iCloud Plus subscribers after a free trial.
Nope, it's
No.
free.
Free? Well, unless you pay ChatGPT and you get a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that's 2 out of 7 or 28.5%, which is even more impressive than 14%.
Okay. All right. So it's my turn now. And spoiler, I'm very happy with my results. Number 1, some AI features will be region locked.
Are they?
Well, it's US English only.
But you can set your device in any region to US English and they'll work.
Well, but technically, if you need to put your region in the US, it is region locked.
I think we give it to him, but I think it's close.
You know?
Yeah, I think
Yes,
I can give
it's
it to you, but
close.
I don't consider region locked as like.
It's also not going to change the results much, but
No, I know,
think,
I know. But hey, look, if we can't debate the answers, then what is this game?
Sure.
Because what I would think of as region locked is like the DMA stuff. Like I can change my region to whatever I want, and I'm not going to be able to download
they're
Altstar.
saying in the chat they're language locked, not region locked. So I'm happy to give this away. It's not region locked.
No, let's give you the point because, like, whatever. Let's make Stephen pay more money. But like,
okay,
you know, I'm glad for that on that reason. But yeah, this doesn't feel like region locked to me, which is good, by the way. Like, I'm super happy. Yeah. And Apple's just saying it, like in briefings. Apparently, they're just like, "Oh no, you can just change your language and you can use it." It's like, great, thank you.
Yeah. Number 2, some new iOS 18 features will be exclusive to the iPhone 15 Pro line. Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, on the
all
iPhone,
of Apple Intelligence.
It's wild, right? Like, look, I understand it, but it's like,
it's rough.
Boy. Yeah, like if you bought an iPhone 15, it's like, oh, well, I hope you enjoy your iPhone 16 next year.
Can we go down conspiracy lane for a second?
Yeah, man.
Well, not conspiracy lane. I don't think this is so they can just sell new iPhones. That's not what I mean. But when they were putting the iPhone 15 on sale, did they know this was going to be the case?
No. I genuinely don't think so.
Probably not.
Or at least, okay, let me, on sale, maybe. When they made the plan for this phone, I don't think they did.
Okay.
Can you guys do me a favor? Can you please not give me the first point? Because otherwise, you know, some folks will be upset that it's marked as correct and it's technically not. And also, my
No, we
points
make the
do
rules
not,
around here. No,
my
we make the
points
rules
do-
around
no,
here.
No, please, I'm asking you. My points do not affect Steven's money anyway. Steven donates based on how many picks he
Good
got
point.
wrong.
Good point. I still think that the precedent should be that we make the decisions. But if you wanna change it, Federico, you can.
I feel better knowing that everything is objectively correct. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Number 3, Notes gets new features such as math calculations and voice recording.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nailed it.
I think it's very interesting to start seeing this. One of the trends, smaller trends, maybe this year, is this two-way app communication that is happening in iOS and iPadOS, like math notes in calculator and inside notes, and also reminders in reminders and in the calendar. Like
Yeah.
this two-way thing, I want to see more of it. I think
Yep.
it's interesting.
Yeah. Reminders kind of comes home. It was in calendar like 100
It
years
used to
ago.
be in iCal many years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
was
I
a
don't
side-
remember that.
It was a sidebar, and I'll see if I can dig up a screenshot in my
incredible.
photo library.
Yeah.
I just want to say Math Notes is the best.
Really
I
cool.
love Math Notes. They crushed
cool.
it. Like
Yeah.
this is just like, oh man, I love it so much. It's so
Did
great.
you see that they're even suggested like anywhere in the quick type keyboard? So like if you type out like in a message on iMessage, if you type out 2 + 2 + 27 and you press the equal sign, then above the keyboard
Hell
you will
yeah.
see the results suggested. Yeah, it's very cool.
I love it. You know what's so good? That computers just do all my math for me. Because you know what I don't want to do? Math. So I love that the computer will now just do it all the time. So that's great
Yeah.
for me.
Number 4, now please allow me to gloat for this moment. Number 4, the next version of macOS is called Sequoia.
You could have
Yes,
had it. It was a
is.
risky, and we would have given you it. Where did this come from in your bones, Federico? Like, why Sequoia?
know.
Do you
It
just
just
wanted-
sound. I gave up on the idea that they were gonna use Skyline, and I thought of all the names, this sounded the coolest. You know, it's Sequoia, like the huge tree. I don't know. It just sounded cool. That was my reasoning for it.
It's a good name. It's a good name.
Yeah, I think so. Number 5, Apple shows off the ability for Siri to control apps, but it's not launching this year. Yeah, they showed it off, and it's not coming in 2024.
Mhm.
It's a next year feature based on app intents. There's going to be a new API, new developer story, but for next year, not in this cycle in 24. Number 6, the calculator app comes to iPad.
Yep.
It did. They found a way to make it all fancy and like to productize the calculator with math notes, which is clever. Number 7, this is the sad moment for me. The next version of Stage Manager supports more than 4 windows at once on some iPad models.
Oh,
Nope.
because this was also, if you got this, you got your annual risky, right?
Yeah. That was my 2-in-1, so to speak, and I did not get it, which is sad. But that means I got 5 out of 7 correct for a 71.4% winning ratio.
That's more than 14.
That's more than 14, more than 28. So please, salute Prince Flexi coming back where he rightfully belongs.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Prince.
It's a fantastic comeback. Fantastic comeback.
Oh, thank you. Steven, you as the loser, I was thinking about the charity. I had a bunch of, unfortunately, I wanted you to donate to some Italian charities, but it seems like they're not going to accept a US address, unfortunately. They were both dog shelters in Italy. The closest I can get is the World Wildlife Fund. So the WWF, you can just go to worldwildlife.org and make a donation there.
Okay. And that donation will be for $150.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
it's
a
for the
pretty high one.
animals.
That's
It's
a
for the
pretty high
animals.
one. That's
You
a
know?
pretty one.
Do it for all the creatures around us.
Make a donation. Donate in someone's name. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to donate in your name. Mike, do you want to do the closing while I donate?
This is where I had to think, what is closing? It's like, what is the closing? The closing is
time.
now. Closing time. It's time to end the show. Go to Mastodon and Threads to find us. Federico is Vitici at macstories.net on Mastodon. And I'm Mike. Stephen is ISMH86 on all of them. Federico is Vitici on This is terrible. I don't like the way that this...
You're doing it. You're doing.
No, I'm starting again. This is how I would do it. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of Connected. You can find us online in a variety of places. If you want to find Federico online, go to macstories.net, and he is at Vitici on social media. Federico is on a selection of podcasts all over Mac Stories because you're a podcast network now. Congratulations on doing that. I like it. Where is NPC though? Where is it?
On Tuesday, episode 2, with all the details of the surprise that I prepared for John and Brendan. Yes.
Excellent. And by the way, I should have mentioned this at the top. If you want more of me and Federico, I did my annual tradition of crashing an episode of App Stories during WWDC week, which is a thing that I do purposefully. So sometimes, I don't know, I've never told you this, Federico. So if I'm at my desk during WWDC week and I see that you are live in Discord, I just join and expect that you will call upon me. Like I moved to my recording desk because I thought that you might bring me in. So
it always happens.
An episode of App Stories.
Yeah, it's a pretty accurate prediction. It always
because
happens.
John got lost. So I got to join for a bit, which was fun. If you want to find Stephen online, you go to 512pixels.net. Stephen is also the host of Mac Power Users and is, I don't know what the job title would be, at Widgetsmith and various underscore apps. Do you have a job title, Stephen?
Managing Director.
Managing Director. That makes it sound like you're David's boss, which I like. I like the thought of that. He manages and is apt directs over at Widgetsmith and Pedometer++ and other applications. And Stephen is at ISMH86. You can find me online here on Relay FM, where I host many shows. I also produce products over at Cortex Brand, and I am at iMyke, IMYKE. I would like to thank again our sponsors for this week's episode. That is ExpressVPN, Ecamm, and AdBlock Pro. And most of all, I'd like to thank you for listening and for the people that support us directly and get longer ad-free episodes of Connected every week. We call it Connected Pro, and you can go and find out more at getconnectedpro.co. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, say goodbye, guys.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.
Bye, y'all.